What about someone that's more further along in their career, maybe mid-career, that you worked with 10 or 15 years ago? You bump into them at a conference, you used to be really close with them, and you sense they're a little bit burned out and they're trying to figure out what their next move should be. What advice would you offer to someone over breakfast or coffee on how to get their career back on track, doing something related to digital infrastructure or data centers?
Yeah, one of our core values here at AVTECH is about thrive on growth. And growth sometimes is thought of as needing to be this major initiative. You need to go back to school to a credentialed degree program. And really the way we interpret it is just learn something new every day. It could be watching a podcast like yours and picking up some new ideas from one of your guests. It could be reading a book. It could be, learning about something through AI or an article. That is really the starting point. You've got to reignite that real emotion around, the satisfaction that comes from growing and expanding your knowledge base. I think where some people tend to get stuck towards that is, well, where do you start? If you're at that point in your career where you feel like you're at a bit of a roadblock, it can be difficult to understand, maybe where you want to go. And I think that's really where the advantage comes in of the small to mid-sized market space really creates a lot more opportunity for some career exploration, to reset, to get out of maybe some of the larger corporate bottlenecks that may exist, some of the silos that may exist, and start to get your hands into parts of the business that you may have been separated from before. We certainly see that here. We've got a large number of our employees are in that mid-career range where they may have started with us and gotten to this point, but many have had careers and explored other organizations for quite some time and found a real growth opportunity with us, not only because of the market that we're in and the growth that we're experiencing with our customers, but mostly with their career and the learning and the opportunity to be more creative and be a bit more dynamic in their day-to-day work, which starts to plant the seed for how they can be more dynamic in their thinking towards personal growth and career growth. So not being afraid of a reset, I think, is where I would really position that. The market itself is booming, in spite of what some of the larger organizations are doing, where you're seeing on the news where they may have grown quickly, or they've got the luxury of funding where they can add headcount whether they need it or not, and you're seeing cutbacks. In other parts of this industry, in the data center industry and the technology space, you're seeing much more dynamic growth and opportunity, and it's just a matter of finding the organization that matches your drive and desire. And there's plenty of opportunity to reignite that spark, learn some new things, and figure out maybe some different directions within the data center space that you didn't explore previously and now have interest. Hi, this is Rick Grundy from AVTECH. You're watching the Data Center Go-to-Market podcast.